Hi guys, and welcome to this short practice for those of you that have been cycling. This one is good for you. If you haven't been cycling, this is probably still good for you. It's really nice if you've been running or if you've been to the gym or if you've simply been doing a lot of forward movement. So again, if you've been working at a desk all day or if you've been driving all day and this kind of rounding through the spine and this movement in one direction forwards and backwards. So hopefully this practice should be good for you. We're going to stay quite close to the floor, so there won't be anything too energizing. It's just a nice stretch and a reset of the breath. So today you will want a strap. If you haven't got a strap, just grab a scarf or a belt. We'll only use it briefly, so if you don't have anything, you can just skip that exercise. And then you will want at least one block and probably two blocks, which we're going to start with as well. Again, if you don't have blocks, you can skip this first bit and just get straight into the next exercise after we've used the blocks. So we'll begin. We'll start using the blocks straight away. This is going to be a really lovely chest opener and a slight back bend as well. So come onto your mat. And then we'll set the blocks up. So you are going to have one of the blocks in the middle of the back. So for ladies, if you think about where you will have your bra strap, that's where you would have the first block. And then the other one is simply just to help support the head. So you might need to move it around to get it in the right position. Now, again, depending on how open you're feeling, you can start with the block on what I call the biscuit level, which is the thin one, or maybe you want to take it up a notch into that middle level. It's up to you. So just start to line up your block in the right place and then place your other one behind where you think you might need it. Again, it can be on the biscuit level or the slightly higher level. So we'll find ourselves here just adjusting that block into the right place, knowing that the other one is here. You'll just start to lie back here. And then it's completely up to you what you would like to do with your legs. So you might find that this is enough just with the knees bent. You might find what's actually quite nice, especially if you've been cycling or running, is to keep the feet together and open the knees out to the sides into a Baddha Konasana position. And then you can just bring the hands down onto the thighs, or palms can face up towards the sky, whatever is most comfortable for you. And just to begin with, we're going to close the eyes and we're only going to take a brief moment here. So with the eyes closed, we're just going to start to bring our attention to our breathing. And if you have been doing any sport today, you would have been doing a lot of breathing through the mouth. So start to really focus on breathing in and out through the nose. Just a few simple breaths. Maybe you notice it's a little bit easier to breathe when we've opened up the front of the body here. If at any point the legs get too uncomfortable, just help them together, keeping the knees bent or the legs straight. And as we lay here for a little while longer, allow the exhale to settle you down into the blocks a little bit more. Notice that support beneath the body. And then start to see if you can lengthen your exhale here. Just for a few breaths, this can help to just reset the nervous system and switch it into that rest and digest mode rather than that fight or flight, that stress mode that you would have been working in if you were on the bike or running, or even if you've been working at the desk or driving. Lengthening that exhale out longer than the inhale. 2 more breaths like this. Lengthening out the exhale. Softening the face, softening the hips, the legs, the hands, the arms. And then if you've got your legs in Baddha Konasana, this wide position, just use the hands to gently bring the knees back in. Take a pause here. And then just gently blink your eyes open. And then we'll use the elbows just to help push us up here. So no sudden movements. Take it nice and slowly, pushing the elbows down. Lift the head up and just slowly, making sure you don't feel dizzy, come all the way back up here. That should have felt quite nice through the shoulders, through the chest and the back. And then we'll just move the blocks off to the side here. And then come round into all fours. So fingers spread nice and wide whenever we've got them on the mat today. The knees are underneath the hips here. We'll take a few rounds of just really simple traditional cat-cow. So as you inhale, you'll just drop the belly. You'll send your tail to the sky and just look slightly forwards. There's no need to try and jut the chin out and look up. Exhale as you push the floor away, tuck the chin, round the spine, drop the tailbone. 3 more here. Moving with your breath. So your breath might be completely different to mine. But as long as you're taking that movement with your own breath. We're going to go for 2 more cat-cows. So it's an inhale to send the tail up to the sky and shine your heart forwards. It's an exhale to push the floor away and look between the knees. We'll take 1 more like this, inhaling to move forwards. And then exhaling to move it back once again. And then just find yourself in a neutral position here. And then you have the option to tuck the toes under for a foot stretch, or you can untuck the toes. This can feel really uncomfortable for some, and I appreciate that. However, even if you can hold it for a short while, breathe into that feeling and that sensation, you'll get a nice stretch. So this is when we're going to grab our strap and just pull it all the way out. And then hold your strap quite wide here, okay, to begin with. And then make sure that your shoulders are stacked on top of your hips. You're not leaning forwards here. If that means you need to untuck the toes, that's fine, okay? Relax the shoulders. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up overhead here. And then exhale, you're going to keep going with the hands, moving them all the way back behind you and drop the strap down. Keep the tightness in the strap here. Inhale again, reach the strap towards the sky and exhale, drop it down. And then we're going to keep moving with the breath. So it's an inhale to reach that strap up overhead, keep pulling it tight, and an exhale to drop it back behind you. And again, keep moving with the breath and just bring your attention to your lower ribs. And notice as you take this movement if you're flaring your lower ribs. So what that would look like is if you were holding the strap a little bit too close together with the hands, you'd get here and you'd stick your chest out. So I'm exaggerating. You'd get here and then you would kind of push backwards and you would find it's a little bit uncomfortable. So try and keep your ribs in that tight space. The core is lightly engaged as you continue this movement here through the shoulders, keeping the strap nice and tight. We're going to go for a couple more here and still think about stacking one vertebra on top of the other, feeling the natural curves of the spine. Next time that strap comes out in front of you, we'll just move it off to the side. And then if you've got the toes tucked still, well done. We're going to untuck them and just give the feet a little bit of a wiggle here. Well done. And then release the feet back down to the floor. Make sure you're in that tabletop position. We're going to start by sending the left toes off the back of the mat. So your foot will come off the mat. Send your right leg back, tucking the toes. And then drop to the big toe side of that foot. Inhaling, opening up here. So now you're getting prepared for a gate pose. You can bring your left toes a little bit further back behind you here, just to give yourself a little bit more support. I'll move into the middle of that. Make sure you can draw a nice line from your left knee to your right toes. Your right toes are not pointing out to the side. they are also facing the long edge of the mat here. We're going to inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, drop the right hand down, and then take a pause here. Take an inhale whenever it naturally happens to reach that hand up to the sky. Then take that lovely side bend down towards the right foot here. And if you notice that you start to hold your breath here, that's a really sure sign that maybe you've gone too far. So maybe just lift up slightly and then bring yourself back to that breathing once again. Otherwise, we're going to stay here for a few breaths. So allow the eyes to just look towards the floor or straight forwards, wherever is comfortable. Have a light squeeze in the bum cheeks just to push the hips towards that long edge of the mat. And make sure that those right toes don't start to lift up. We want to keep them moving towards the long edge of the mat. We'll take one more big inhale here. And then exhale, slowly lift all the way up to center. And then we're going to place the left hand down on the floor here. If it doesn't quite get there, you can use your fingertips, or you've got your handy block nearby. You can also use that. Either way, the left hand is somewhere near the floor. The right hand will reach all the way up overhead, and then bring your right hand to the back of the head here. Your elbow will probably want to fall forwards. Can you use your head to push the hand back, to lift the elbow to the sky, at the same time again as pushing your hips towards the long edge of the mat. Take a nice big breath into this side bend. And then as you exhale, reach this right arm all the way to the top of the mat. And then we'll drop it all the way down into all fours once again. And we're going to take the same thing on the other side. You're going to stay where you are. I'm just going to switch around the other side so that I can see you and you can see me. Or I can't see you, but you can see me. So, well done. This time we're going to bring the right foot off the side of the mat. It will only go in one direction because you'll hit the left foot otherwise. So right foot off, left leg goes back straight, turn onto the big toe side of that foot. Keep that foot pressing down, reach all the way up into your gate pose here. And then once again, just make sure you can draw a nice straight line from your right knee to your left toes. Left toes face forwards and not to the sky or any other direction. Roll the shoulder blades back and down, get nice and tall here, and then take a big breath in, dropping that left hand down, reaching the right arm up. Pause here, and then again when the next inhale happens, reach up a little higher, then start to take that side bend all the way over towards the left here. And again, remind yourself to keep the hips facing the long edge of the mat. Keep pressing into the knife edge of your left foot. And just notice if you can breathe again. So once again, if you find yourself with a kind of fast-paced breath or holding the breath, come back up, breathe easier, well done. We're going to hold here for one more round of inhale and exhale. And then we're going to slowly lift all the way back up, wonderful. The right hand's going to come to the floor or a block on the fingertips. Sweep your left arm all the way up and overhead. Make sure your right hand is directly underneath your shoulder or maybe just slightly further forwards. Bring your left hand onto the back of the head. Send your left elbow to the sky. Push the head back here. Lift the elbow up. Feel that stretch down the side of the body. Keep moving the hips forwards. And again, just allow the gaze to fall naturally where it's comfortable for you. We'll hold for one more big inhale here. Exhale, release that left arm to the top of the mat. And then we're going to come all the way back down to all fours. Nice and slowly, lovely. From here, we're going to take it into a down dog. So you're going to tuck your toes under. Slowly lift up to downward facing dog. Now, if you have been cycling or doing any other exercise, or even if you've been sitting, bend your knees softly. And then start to push your chest back towards your thighs at the same time as powering up the arms and pushing yourself away from the floor. And then we'll bend one knee a little bit more than the other so the heel drops somewhere towards the floor, and then switch it up. So you bend the other knee, the other leg straightens. And then keep this movement, but can you match it with the breath? So again, if you've been working on high cadence from running or from cycling, you'll be used to moving quickly, so take it so much slower than you're used to. And see if you can link that movement to breath. So maybe you inhale, lift one heel, exhale, drop the other. And then you'll take it the other side. And all the time, we're pushing the chest back towards the thighs, lengthening the spine rather than creating that rounding that you've probably been doing a lot already today. Take it one more time on each heel here. And then you'll slowly come down to all fours. We'll take a brief child's pose, but let's bring the knees nice and wide in this child's pose. Big toes touch. Reach the arms forwards and then turn your hands up to the sky here. Allow the head to come to the floor. Again, if it doesn't quite get there, feel free to grab that block and place it underneath the head. Your choice here. The arms are nice and relaxed. We'll take 2 more deep breaths in, thinking about breathing into the back of the body here. One last breath here. And then flip your hands back down to the floor, bring yourself back to all fours. And we're going to take a downward facing dog once again. So tuck the toes under, hip distance wide. Lift your knees and start to move your chest back towards your thighs. And then start to think about bringing your left heel to the floor. It may not touch, that doesn't matter. I'd rather you kept the integrity of the length of the spine. Bring your right foot behind the left Achilles, so the left ankle. And then you're going to bring your big toe on one side and then your second toe on the other. So you've got a hold of the back of the ankle with your big toe and second toe. And then almost allow that to bring the heel down towards the floor here to help you with that stretch. We'll take 2 breaths in here. Keep pushing the chest back towards the thighs, firing up the arms here. And then bend your left knee, the heel will remove from the floor. Place your right foot down. This time we're going to start to move the right heel towards the floor. The big toe and second toe on the left foot hook behind the ankle. Keep moving your chest back. Keep lifting your bottom to the sky as the left foot now helps the right heel pull down towards the floor. And as you stay here, can you think about lengthening the right side of your waist, the same length as the left side? One more big breath in here, and then release. We're going to look to the top of the mat now, however you wish. Place your right foot at the top. If it doesn't get there, just place it at the top, especially if you do not a lot of exercise. Drop your left knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead. And then exhale, bring your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. Once the fingers are interlaced, roll the shoulder blades back and down here. Push the floor away rather than sinking down. Keep tall in this low lunge. Take an inhale here as you puff the chest up. Now you can start to sink forwards into your low lunge. But as you sink forwards, can you still think about pushing the heel away, lifting your heart up to the sky and drawing the hands down the back thigh? And if you're at home, you can start to look to that space where the wall and the ceiling meet, just looking slightly up rather than all the way towards the sky. Take one more inhale here. Can you push the floor away but lift the heart up? And then stack the shoulders on top of the hips, reach the arms up once again, and the hands come down to the floor. Lift your back knee up, step it back just very briefly to a little down dog, and then step your left foot to the top of the mat, drop your right knee down this time. And again, make sure that the front knee is stacked on top of the ankle here. Inhale, reach your arms up, get tall through this low lunge. Drawing the right hip forwards and the left hip back. Lengthening the spine here, so try not to send the bottom back. We're lengthening the tailbone down. One more big breath in. Exhale, bring the hands behind you and interlace them the kind of weird way round. So you will find it feels a bit unnatural. So go ahead and take that. Roll the shoulders back and down once again. start to sink forwards, but as you sink forwards, then start to press into your left heel to lift up and out of the pelvis, lifting the heart to the sky, drawing the hands down the back of the right thigh here. So you'll get a slightly deeper and different stretch here. So there's a lot of pressure and weight pushing through the left heel as you lift your heart up here. Take one more big breath in. And then as you exhale, lift the heart, stack the shoulders over the hips, reach the arms up to the sky, hands to the floor, and then very briefly back for a downward facing dog, just for one breath in and one breath out. Look up towards your hands, and then you'll step one foot to the top and then the other. And then just bring your feet about hip distance wide. Bend your knees, so it's almost like you're trying to bring your belly onto your thighs. Hold your elbows, hang the head heavy. And then if you wish, you can take a sway from side to side, straightening one leg and then the other if you wish. And then from here, release the elbows. We're going to roll up through the spine, so stacking one vertebra at a time. Your head is going to be the very last thing to come up and sit on top of the shoulders. And when you get there, you're going to roll your shoulder blades back and down. Oh, lovely. So, step one leg back, it doesn't matter which one, and then turn all 10 toes to the long side of the mat here, okay? And then have a look at your feet, turn your heels in slightly, and then we're going to start to sit down into a goddess squat. So you'll sit down here, the knees open out to the sides. They might want to knock in, okay? So try and lift the inner arches of the feet, send the knees back, sink the bottom low, but keep the shoulders stacked on top of the hips here. And then all we're going to do is, once we're nice and low, bring your arms onto the thighs. So I like to call this the hacker pose. You can probably see why. So the bottom is dropping. My arms are like levers, which will help get a nice stretch across the inner thighs. So the more you push down, you'll notice the more my knees push backwards, but I lift my chest here. So I'm not creating that same rounding position I've probably been doing on the bike. I'm lifting up and away and moving the thighs away from one another. My shoulders are dropping away from the ears. And again, this is another really good pose to think about your breathing. So as the body starts to get stressed with the sensations that come up, see if you can lengthen your exhale. So maybe see if you can inhale for the count of 3, exhale for the count of 4. What this does is this sends some messages to the brain to actually switch into that rest and digest mode. So keep low. We're going to go for 2 more breaths here, and you've got this, okay? You've got the breath. Nothing bad's going to happen to you here. Well done. 1 more breath here, inhaling for that slightly shorter period of time and exhaling for a slightly longer period of time, and then we're going to lift. So push the floor away. You can use your hands on your legs if you need to lift yourself up. Well done. Bring the feet into the center of the mat and just give them a little shake off to the sides. Lovely. Okay, so we're going to come back down towards the mat now. We'll take a little flow to get there. So we'll bring the feet about hip distance wide, roll the shoulders back, stand tall here without parting the ribs, keep the ribs knitting in. Inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, bring the arms out wide, imagine you're moving through water, bend the knees, come down towards the earth. Inhale, bring the hands to the shins, straighten the legs slightly, lift your chest, and then we don't want to round through the back and bring the shoulders to the ears. We want to push and lift away from the shins. Bend your knees, plant your hands, step back to a very brief, actually don't do a plank, we'll just come to all fours here. And then we're going to take it into a little Sphinx pose. So what we're going to do is bring the elbows down, move the arms back, move the legs back, and drop the pelvis to the floor, untuck your toes. So just make sure that your shoulders and your elbows are in line, then your elbows and your wrists are in line. So you've got a little L shape going on here. And then what we're going to do is slide the right leg into a right angle. So we'll bend the right knee, your leg will come off the mat, Your heel is not close to your bottom, it is in line with your knee here, and your knee is in line with your hip. And then once you're in this position, I'd like you to really push the elbows into the floor so you lift the chest. And then once you're in this position with the arms, we'll hold it here. Bring your attention to the space underneath the front of the right hip. Okay, so this area here, there will be a gap. I'd like you to imagine there's a little grape there, and I would like you to squash that grape. So when I say that, we need to think about this hip rolling forwards, okay? So you can put your right hand there if you wish, if it helps, to roll the hip forwards, but lift the belly away from the floor at the same time. Keep that feeling of pushing down. You'll notice there'll be a little bit more pressing in the right ankle and the right knee. We'll hold for one more inhale here, and one more exhale. And then slowly slide this right leg back. You can kind of wiggle it in, and we'll take it the other side. So this time it will be the left leg. So bend your left leg, it will come off the mat. Make sure your right toes are untucked. And then you've got this L shape. So from the left hip to the left knee to the left ankle, we've got an L. And we've still got that L in the arms as well. Think about your little imaginary grape underneath your left hip. Roll the left hip down as you push the floor away, lift the heart. Shoulders move away from the ears here. Feel that press through the inner left ankle, the inner left knee. Keep this feeling for one more inhale here, well done. And one exhale. And then just lean to the right so you can wiggle that left leg back in. And then just come down onto your belly for a moment, make a pillow with the hands. Bend your knees and point your toes to the sky. And just windshield wipe, as if your feet were little windshield wipers on the car. Moving your legs from side to side here. Lovely. And then all we're going to do is come back to centre. We're going to lie on the back. So just roll yourself onto your back here. Okay, and then if you have a block, I would suggest you use it for this next part. If you don't worry. Lie on the back. We're going to bring the block just over to the left-hand side of the mat. We're going to straighten the left leg out, turn your hips, so now your hips are facing the left side of the mat and facing towards the block. You're going to move the right leg over, and then let's make a support for this right leg, okay? So let's take the block and we're going to place it underneath the right foot, okay? So again, we've got an L shape going on with the right leg here. The foot is supported with a block or it's on the floor. Arms are out nice and wide, and we're looking towards the left hand here. And then we need a little bit of space here, so we're going to imagine we're closing a book with the right hand. So your right arm lifts, it stays straight, it reaches all the way over to that left arm, and then keep reaching, so your head will stay on the floor, but reach, how far can you reach across? Maybe your hand slides off the left hand. Keeping your right fingertips on the floor, draw a semicircle. So right fingertips are trying to stay on the floor. Flip your palm to the sky and then complete that circle. We're going to take it again. So inhale, reach the right arm overhead, place it onto the left arm. Keep sliding the right hand forwards. Fingertips stay on the floor as you reach that arm up overhead. And again, flip the palm over, keep going with that semicircle all the way out to the side. One more time like this. Lifting that arm up here, placing it onto the left arm. Keep sliding as the back lifts away from the floor. Fingertips are really trying to stay on the floor as you draw that circle. The head can move with you, opening all the way out to the side. And then we're going to roll onto the back or take it the other way. So just take your block with you, move it to the other side. And again, we're going to lie on the back, arms out wide. I'm going to turn onto my right hip
I'm going to bring my left foot onto that block. So the knee is raised, the left foot is onto the block. Arms are out wide here, and we'll do the same thing as before. So we're going to close the book with the left hand. So left arm reaches up, turn, maybe look at the hand. Once the left hand touches the right arm, slide it further forwards. Keep your fingertips on the floor as you move around here, drawing that half a circle, palm turns to the sky, arms open up wide. See if you can think about bringing the back of the shoulder towards the floor. 2 more, closing that book here, moving slowly. Reach your left fingertips all the way away from you as much as you can. Then, keeping the fingers on the floor, draw that semicircle all the way around, opening the chest towards the sky, heart faces up. Last time here, lift the left arm up, close the book, slide the left hand a little further. And then again, fingertips stay on the floor. Take that semicircle, opening all the way up here. And then we're going to slowly come back onto our backs. Make sure you're lying in the middle of your mat. This is our last stretch. We're going to take a little banana stretch here. So wiggle your feet towards the right hand side. They might come off the side of the mat. And then you're going to place your left ankle on top of your right. So you just crossed your legs. And then shuffle your shoulders to the right as well. And then we're going to reach the arms overhead. But just before you do, take a hold of your left wrist. Okay? And then reach your arms all the way up and overhead. Turn to sort of look towards your left armpit here. Keep the left back of the left shoulder on the floor. And if you wish, you can start to close the eyes here. And then wherever you are, if the eyes closed or open, try and think about bringing your left bum cheek down towards the floor and shining your left hip towards the sky. Take 1 more breath here. And then exhale, release the arms and shuffle yourself back through center. Straighten the legs, bring them off to the left. And then cross your right ankle on top. Shuffle your shoulders to the left, so you're taking the banana shape the other way. And then just before you reach the arms overhead, take a hold of your right wrist. Reach the arms overhead and just slightly pull the right hand overhead towards the left side, so you're creating this banana to the left. Turn your head to look towards your right armpit as you really focus on trying to draw the back of the right shoulder down towards the floor. We'll take 2 more breaths here. And then slowly release, and then bring yourself back into the center of the mat. And then your choice, just for a very brief Shavasana here, you can lie down straight or you can keep the knees bent. I'm going to straighten my legs out, allow the ankles to flop to the sides, tuck my shoulders underneath me, hands face up to the sky, and just close your eyes for a moment. This is going to be a very brief Shavasana. And just for the next 5 breaths, that's all I ask today, think about lengthening your exhale. So maybe think about counting your inhale for 3 or 4, and then counting your exhale for 4 or 5. And each time you take that exhale, imagine you're exhaling from the crown of the head all the way down through the spine to the base of the spine, down the legs, and to the bottom of the heels. Just a couple more breaths like this. Exhale, almost imagining that wave move down from the crown of the head, down the spine, down the legs to the heels. And then 1 more breath like this. And then just bring the knees into the chest here. You can rock towards the right hand side or just slowly push yourself up wherever you wish to seated. You can cross the legs for a moment if you wish. Bring the hands together at heart center and
Just take a lovely deep inhale through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. And then open the hands over the eyes. Gently blink them open. And then bring the hands down. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed that. And it gave you a little bit of respite that you needed after all that cycling or running or whatever you've been doing. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much.